Discover the 7 miraculous ways divine energy is prophetically transforming lives today. In the heart of an English village, where cobblestone streets wind through vibrant gardens and a centuries-old church stands tall, the air was thick with divine energy. Whispers of miracles lay heavy on the tongues of the community, a tidal wave of faith washing over everyone in the shadow of the ancient oak tree. Nightly devotionals became a sacred gathering, and villagers joined hands, forming a human chain of hope that stretched toward the heavens. Every voice lifted in prayer echoed with a promise that something miraculous was unfolding. Sarah, a single mother devoted to her son Matthew, found herself at the core of this divine fervor. With tear-stained cheeks and a heart full of anguish, she stared at the flickering candlelight of the vigil, her spirit ignited by the collective prayers echoing around her. Matthew's rare illness stumped the most seasoned doctors, his bright laughter now a memory overshadowed by sickness. Some nights, she could almost hear the whispers of the Almighty, caressing her soul, filling her with a warmth she had long needed. And oh, the manifestations of divine intervention were palpable. One evening, as the crowd gripped hands tightly, a villager recounted how a blighted harvest had suddenly thrived under the light of a harvest moon, the roots nourished by unseen grace. Gasps rippled through the gathering, eyes widening as the stories flowed. Faith seemed to blossom before their eyes, healing from illnesses, relationships mended, and financial burdens lifted, all without explanation. Among the villagers stood Thomas, a skeptic with an insatiable thirst for evidence. His sharp intellect positioned him as a voice of doubt in the sea of faith. Miracles? He scoffed. More often than not, it's our own yearning for hope that crafts such tales. We mustn't mistake coincidence for the hand of God. Yet, as the prayers intensified, an irrefutable tension began to fester between him and the believers. During one fervent Sunday service, the priest, a man of great integrity, declared with an unwavering voice, "I have seen a vision. Matthew will be healed." The harmony of hope soared, but for Sarah, those words struck a chord of both courage and fear. Could faith really summon the extraordinary? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the prayer vigil swelled, an undeniable energy surged through the crowd. These moments felt charged with heaven's touch. Onlookers gasped in unison as Matthew, weak yet vigilant, swayed on his feet, a sparkle igniting in his eyes that hadn't shone in months. The villagers erupted in cheers, knitting together their once divided hearts. But a flicker of uncertainty darted in Thomas's mind. As miracles unfolded around them, his beliefs wavered in the face of truth. What is the nature of faith? Can miracles hold weight in a world ruled by skepticism? Sarah looked around, her eyes swimming with hope and conflict as the divine energy of unity enveloped them all. In the soft glow of evening light, it was clear something extraordinary was unfolding, igniting eternal questions that promised to stretch beyond this moment. The air buzzed with a holy anticipation as villagers leaned closer, eyes fixed on Matthew, who stood at the center of their gathering. Faith wrapped around them like a cocoon, pulsing with unity and possibility. His frail form trembled, but the spark in his eyes drew them all in a beacon of hope that began igniting even the dimmest hearts. Could it be? Murmured an elder, skin weathered like the bark of the ancient oak. Is the boy truly healing? As the villagers clung to one another, Sarah closed her eyes, her heart racing with every heartbeat. Her prayers wove around her like silk threads, grounding her spirit in the storm of uncertainty. She could feel the warmth rising from her soul, a divine embrace reminding her of the promise made that night, a promise whispered in soft tones, laced with belief. Then a hush draped over the crowd as a gentle breeze swept through the gathering, rustling leaves and flickering candle flames. It felt as though the heavens themselves had come to listen. The unease in Thomas tormented him like a tidal wave crashing relentlessly against rocky shores. He remained still, straining his mind against the tide of undeniable faith surrounding him. The boy's fragile presence now radiated courage and warmth, casting shadows of doubt from Thomas's heart. At that moment, Sarah inhaled deeply. She felt something shift, a blend of fear and divine reassurance. Would this be a moment of truth for everyone, even for Thomas? The priest stepped forward, his voice soothing yet fervent. Friends, what we observe here is not mere coincidence. There's energy at work, translating our collective faith into tangible miracles. Let us pray, let us keep our hearts open. With that, the village joined in a symphony of prayer, voices rising as one, threading through the twilight air. Sarah's heart swelled with fervent hope that coursed through her veins. Every word, every heartfelt utterance breathed life into her son as she gazed at Matthew's radiant eyes. And then it happened. Like sunlight breaking through heavy clouds, a wave of power cascaded over them. Matthew's knees buckled momentarily, and gasps echoed through the crowd. But instead of falling, he steadied himself, and a low, joyous laugh spilled from his lips, his first in what felt like forever. The joy sparked in everyone around as villagers began to clap and shout, tears streaming down faces as they rediscovered their dreams. "It's a miracle," they cried. Yet in the back, Thomas's brow furrowed deeper. The joy was infectious, yet a storm brewed within him. Could he reconcile his skeptical nature with the unfolding love before him? Could the very fabric of reality shift simply by faith? He found himself marooned between two worlds, the certainty of logic and the wild bloom of miracles that danced around him. Sarah caught Thomas's gaze, and for a moment, the air thickened with understanding. "You see?" she urged, her words just a whisper. "Faith isn't about evidence. It's about embracing the unknown, trusting in what we cannot see." Each syllable hung in the realm they occupied, a bridge reaching across the divide. But as the jubilant cries echoed around them, a sudden silence fell like a soft blanket. All eyes turned back to Matthew, whose laughter faded as he looked skyward, a puzzled expression crossing his face. For a heartbeat, time stood still, a collective breath held in anticipation. The moment hung precariously, and somewhere deep within, a new question took root. What divine wonder might follow in the wake of this healing? As light shimmered around them, framing Matthew in a halo, the villagers drew close, wondering what next would be revealed. They sensed the presence of a greater story unfolding, one that would challenge their understanding and deepen their faith. The path of faith was always a journey, and tonight, it promised more revelations. What new miracles awaited them just out of sight? The stillness of the moment stretched on, thick like the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Matthew's gaze remained locked to the heavens, his small frame almost trembling with the intensity of the unseen forces surrounding him. It felt as if the very air held its breath, waiting for a word, a sign, a revelation. Then, with a sudden burst of clarity, Matthew's expression shifted. His eyes lit up like candles ignited in the dark. "I see him," he exclaimed, the joy in his voice ringing out like a bell. "Yes, here, the one who loves us all." Gasps rippled through the crowd, a mingling of disbelief and awe painting the faces of the villagers. Sarah's heart fluttered. She felt a wave of warmth wash over her. The heaviness that burdened Thomas began to ease, leaving room for something radiant and new. If Matthew truly saw something, surely there was more to witness, a divine connection shaping the night. "Lord," whispered the priest, his voice trembling with reverence, "open our eyes to your glory." The villagers, buoyed by his spirit, joined in a chorus of soft affirmations, hearts swaying like reeds in the wind. They recognized that something beyond their understanding was weaving into their lives, binding them together in faith. "Tell us what you see, Matthew," Sarah urged gently, the motherly instinct driving her to reassure the fragile boy. Amidst the hushed silence, Matthew took a deep breath, his small chest rising and falling with purpose. "It's beautiful," he said, his voice shimmering with innocence and wonder. "There are colors I've never known. Love flows like a river, sparkling, healing, and there are voices, singing praises. A soft smile broke upon Sarah's lips. She glanced toward Thomas, her eyes imploring him to open his heart. Could this child be a conduit for divine wisdom? If he could see the colors of God's love, could he also use them to mend the torn fabric of their lives? Yet, in the depths of Thomas's soul, doubt clawed at him. He wrestled with this extraordinary account even as waves of emotion surged through the assembly. Suddenly, a flicker of hope stirred within him, a fragile flame igniting against the storm. What if he is telling the truth? He thought. The air shimmered around Matthew, as if the very presence of the Almighty were tangibly wrapping around him. He lifted an unsteady hand toward the sky, and in that moment, a collective gasp erupted from the crowd. Their hearts beat in unison, reverberating with ancient rhythms of worship. "Who will join me?" he called out, his voice bright and firm now. "Who will let this love touch them? Come forth." One by one, villagers stepped forward, hands outstretched, hearts yearning for connection. There was a magnetism in the air, an undeniable pull toward a sacred experience. As they came together, Matthew smiled wider, his heart pulsing with unified strength. As people reached out to him, tangible energy seemed to flow from his small frame. It flowed through their fingers like the gentle stream at the river's edge. Joy burst forth, laughter and tears mingling in a harmony of newfound faith. Faith is not static. It's alive. The priest broke the silence, raising his hands high. "Let us be touched by his grace today." The villagers echoed his words, their hearts igniting in fervor. But then, just as suddenly as the joy had risen, a shiver ran through the crowd. A chill crept into the air, a whisper of uncertainty brushing against their spirits. They turned to the horizon where clouds gathered ominously, a reminder that not all storms feel the same. What do the clouds herald? Thomas wondered, feeling the balance within him teeter once more. Could it be that new trials beckoned, even as miracles unfolded? Would the presence of healing also bring the weight of further challenge? Every heart frayed, revealing the threads of hope and fear woven together in contradiction. Amidst the growing concern, one question resonated in the silence left in Matthew's wake. What new challenges and revelations awaited them on this sacred path? In the deepening twilight, they sensed the call of destiny was not done with them yet. The crowd stood hushed, the air thick with an electric tension, as Matthew lowered his hand and looked at each face turned towards him. In those moments, he did not see only fear and doubt reflected back, but a deep yearning for something greater. The colors he had seen still danced in his memory, urging him to share more, to believe harder. "Do not forget," he urged, "the love we felt is still here. It hasn't gone anywhere. We must open our hearts." His small voice echoed, like a ripple on a still pond. Thomas was torn. Within him, a battle waged, doubt grappling fervently with the budding flame of hope. He felt as if the clouds gathering on the horizon carried both menace and promise. What if these trials were meant to unveil deeper truths? In that moment, he caught Sarah's gaze, the fierce light in her eyes sharpening his resolve. "Matthew," he called, his voice rising above the whispers of concern. "How can we prepare ourselves for what may come? If storms do approach, must we not find strength together?" A soft murmur surged through the crowd, reflective of the fear creeping in anew. Yet Matthew nodded knowingly, his smile unwavering. "Sometimes we find strength in vulnerability," he spoke, as though sharing a secret held close to his heart. "When we share our burdens, they become lighter. Together we can face anything." The priest, moved by this wisdom, stepped forward, arms wide. "Let us gather to pray. We will pour our hearts out to him, trusting in his presence even amidst uncertainty." His voice was a lifeline, drawing meaning from the raw emotions swirling like leaves in a gust of wind. As they settled into a circle, hands clasped, the noise softened. Even the winds seemed to hush, leaning in to hear their supplications. It was as if the universe paused, offering them a sacred space to express their fears and hopes. One by one, hearts were laid bare. "Lord, grant us courage," a village elder prayed, tears tracing paths down her weathered cheeks. "May our hearts be open." Another followed, voice quaking with the weight of her longing. Matthew knelt in the center, a beacon of childlike faith, and closed his eyes. "Feel him," he encouraged. "Let his love fill these spaces between us." As they prayed, the first raindrops fell, light at first, then heavier. The rain danced on their skin, cool and refreshing, washing away residual doubt. With each drop, the clouds above seemed to shift, revealing hints of the stars that dotted the sky. There was a beauty even amid uncertainty, a promise that dawn would come after darkness. "Look," one child exclaimed, pointing upward. "The stars are shining." Laughter erupted, infectious in its joy. It reminded them that even the darkest moments hold glimmers of hope. Yet as joy filled the circle, Thomas stood apart, still wrestling with the heaviness in his heart. Could the vision Matthew shared truly be more than mere imagination? While the villagers basked in light, he felt a cloud hovering over him, pressing down like a weight he couldn't shake. What if he was meant to stand in the shadows, to challenge the light they sought? "Why do I feel this way?" he murmured aloud, drawing curious glances. "Am I not worthy of faith?" In a moment of divine clarity, Matthew approached him. "You are loved, Thomas. Sometimes it takes faith to keep questioning. Doubt isn't the enemy. It can be a doorway to deeper understanding." At that, the village erupted into a chorus of affirmations. Voices raised in harmony reassured him. "We are in this together. Your questions matter." Thomas felt a shift within, a warmth spreading from his heart into his limbs. Maybe he could embrace this journey after all. Still, a lingering unease tugged at him. As the rain lightened and the stars twinkled brighter like promises rekindled, he couldn't shake the feeling that the night was not over. It had merely taken a new form. Matthew turned to the skies, then to the villagers. "What comes next, dear friends? What challenges await as we step deeper into the mystery of his plan?" And just as the stars glimmered with untold secrets, the crowd sensed that their divine journey had only begun. As the laughter faded and silence enveloped the gathering, an unexpected calm fell over them. The whispers of the wind carried hints of gentleness, erasing the remnants of fear that had taken root moments ago. Matthew's eyes sparkled with unearthly joy as he breathed in deeply, his spirit attuned to the heartbeat of the night. "Friends," he began softly, "underneath our doubts and fears lies a tapestry of divine purpose. Each thread, woven with love, adds depth to our existence. What if we look closely? What if we allow ourselves to be transformed by the very challenges we dread?" With hope rising in the hearts of the villagers, Thomas felt an urgency to let go. Could it be that the fear which gripped him so tightly was merely a shadow, masking the light of possibility? He gazed at the stars above, a vivid reminder of the celestial legacy they all shared. "Matthew," Sarah called, her voice buoyant. "What if these clouds are less about storms and more about unveiling the dawn? What if we encouraged one another to step fearlessly into the unknown?" Matthew nodded, his smile radiant with agreement. "Yes. What we see as clouds may merely be the curtain before the show of miracles." An encouraging murmur flowed through the circle, rekindling flames of faith. Encouraged by the warm embrace of shared connection, Thomas took a step forward. What would it look like if we shared our deepest fears and dreams, instead of hiding them? Can we allow our vulnerabilities to shine in the light of love? As soon as he spoke, the villagers felt the weight of his words. One by one, they began to share their hearts freely. It was a chorus of intertwining dreams, dreams that danced and soared like the stars above. "Dear Lord, I wish for reconciliation with my family," a woman confessed, her voice trembling but strong. "I long to heal from the pain of the past," a young man added, his eyes reflecting the flickering hope. As each shared, it became a beautiful exchange, a sacred bonding that took root in love, nurturing their spirits. They lifted each other higher, tracing paths through their vulnerabilities like stars covering a rock-strewn sky. Matthew, kneeling amongst them, sensed an immense energy swelling, a divine force weaving through the crowd. Feel this connection. He urged. Unity is a fountain of strength. Together we can overcome any mountain. Let us trust that each challenge is an opportunity for growth. The energy was palpable. From the depths of despair, new life blossomed like flowers finding sunlight. Thomas found himself drawn into this sacred moment, soaking in the warmth of shared faith. For every doubt, faith emerged like a wildflower breaking through concrete, beautiful and resilient. Then the winds changed. An unexpected gust swept through the circle, as if nature itself celebrated their unity. Gasps of awe arose as a surge of light illuminated the space around them. It danced upon the gathered, creating an ethereal glow. "Is this his presence?" whispered a child, clutching her mother's hand. "I believe it is," Thomas replied, his heart pounding with recognition, "and it's reminding us that we are never alone." The congregation swelled with energy, their spirits intertwined in hope and love. Each face glowed with renewed purpose, and every heart beat in rhythm with the divine. Yet, as the light began to fade, an unsettling thought crept swiftly into Thomas's mind. What if this moment was only the beginning? What if the trials that awaited were far greater than they had envisioned? Just when hope seemed most radiant, a distant rumble echoed from the horizon, a reminder that while the stars were shining, darkness still lurked. As the villagers exchanged worried glances, reverberations of uncertainty thrummed beneath their joy. "Will our faith hold?" Thomas pondered aloud, tone heavy with both trepidation and determination. "When the ground beneath us shakes." And in that moment, the great cosmic dance of light and shadow swept them into a whirlwind of uncharted possibilities, leaving them trembling on the brink of revelation. What path would they choose as the mystery of divine energy unfolded before them? What weighty truths lay in wait just beyond the horizon? A hush enveloped the gathering once more as the villagers looked among themselves, hearts pounding with a mix of anticipation and fear. The distant rumble grew louder, almost like a call beckoning them to confront the storm beyond. Thomas felt a gentle nudge from within. We must not shy away from this moment. The rumbling is a challenge to our faith, a question posed to our hearts. His voice steadied, finding strength in vulnerability. He continued, "What if this is a chance for us to stand firm together? To prove that, in our union, we are unstoppable?" Matthew turned to the others, his eyes reflecting the flickering lights of hope. "Each of you holds a piece of the divine. Together, we can create light in this place, a beacon that can guide us through any darkness." As if summoned by their collective strength, the wind whirled around them, carrying the whispers of each person's unspoken fears. But it also embraced them, wrapping them in a cocoon of warmth and promise. With every breath, they pulled in possibility and exhaled doubt. "I feel it," a voice cried out, breaking through the tension. It was Sarah, her arms raised, face uplifted towards the vast, starry sky. "I feel the presence of something greater. Can we trust that we are connectors of this divine energy?" The villagers began to nod, a wave of resolve washing over them. One by one, they lifted their voices, each confession a piece of the common fabric they were weaving together. "I wish to overcome my fears of failure," shouted a man whose brow was lined with worry. "I want to embrace the unknown, to let go of my fight with control," chimed a woman beside him, her voice trembling yet alive with excitement. As they shared their hopes, the rumble shifted from a threat into a thunderous applause of encouragement. John, a reticent villager, stepped forward. "If we face tomorrow together, with light in our hearts, there is nothing we cannot weather." His words electrified the crowd. They began to echo his sentiments, their voices intertwining in a chorus of bold declarations. "We stand as one," they proclaimed. "We are the light that can pierce through the clouds." And at that moment, the atmosphere around them shimmered. The energy pulsed, bright and alive, as if the very essence of their unity flickered around them like golden fireflies. The boundaries of their individual souls began to blur, merging into a vibrant tapestry of belief and courage. The rumbling in the distance softened, turning into a rhythmic heartbeat echoing their own. It felt as if the earth acknowledged their resolve, responding to their cry for unity. Matthew raised his arms high, drawing the attention of everyone. What we see as trials are but stepping stones towards something magnificent. Let us hold fast to our dreams and cling to the joyous possibilities before us. A collective gasp arose as the winds shifted again, this time carrying the scent of blossoms sweet and fragrant, as if nature itself rejoiced in their unity. Light flickered above, dancing like stars descending to join the gathering. Thomas closed his eyes, absorbing the fragrance, letting it wash over him like a warm embrace. An inexplicable peace settled in his heart. Perhaps they were indeed on the cusp of something extraordinary. But as the energy swelled, a doubt lingered. What kind of challenges would test their resolve next? Would their newfound strength be enough to face storms they couldn't foresee? The night deepened, the stars twinkled with joy, yet a compelling mystery loomed, inviting each heart to delve deeper into faith. As the congregation stood hand in hand, their faces illuminated by the emerging light, a question hung in the air. Would they answer the call of this divine awakening or retreat at the first sign of darkness? It was then they heard an unfamiliar sound like a distant melody, calling them forth. What lay ahead in this dance with destiny? As the melody danced through the air, it seemed to weave around each villager, gently caressing their souls. It was a sound like no other, a symphony of hope that stirred their hearts. Thomas opened his eyes, drawn to the source of the music that now enveloped them. The stars above flickered with a newfound brightness, pouring silver light upon the earth. "Do you hear it?" he whispered, hardly able to contain the awe in his voice. "It's as if the very cosmos sings to us, urging us to embrace what lies ahead." "Yes," Sarah exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. She looked around at her friends, her spirit incandescent. "This must be the call of our dreams. It is beckoning us to step into the unknown." The villagers, emboldened by Sarah's excitement, began to sway, their feet moving in rhythm with the melody. Joy bubbled up from within, and laughter echoed against the night, reverberating like a warm embrace. It was as if the very ground beneath them pulsed with the beat of their hearts, urging them to move forward. "Let us find the source of this melody," Matthew called out. He stepped forward, leading the way, each step a prayer, each heartbeat a testament to their shared faith. With every stride, the air thickened with anticipation. They moved as one, a holy procession, each footfall a note in the melody that swept through the village. They ventured towards the edge of the forest, where the trees swayed gently like guardians ushering them towards revelation. As they drew closer, the rhythm changed, becoming more vibrant and alive. Shadows danced with the light, creating a tapestry of flickering shapes. Tension and hesitance washed away with each resonant note that filled the air, creating space for courage to bloom. What if this is a new beginning? John pondered aloud, igniting the wonders of possibility in those around him. An opportunity for us to witness something larger than ourselves. With every heartbeat, each villager felt that urge to believe in what was beyond the horizon. They held hands tighter, feeling the pulse of unity thrumming through them. Their interconnected strength felt like a rope braided from individual fibers, twisting and weaving them into something unstoppable. As they penetrated deeper into the woods, the melody grew clearer, more joyous. It called out, beckoning them to remember who they truly were. Thomas looked into the eyes of his companions, each face aglow with trust and surrender. When did we ever dare to dream this big? Sarah wondered aloud, her voice trembling with awe. This melody is a promise, a love letter from the divine. They reached a small clearing, where the moon spilled its silvery light like sweet honey over the ground. In the center stood a tree, unlike anything they had seen before. Its leaves shimmered with iridescent colors, each hue illuminating the faces of the villagers. It felt alive, breathing with every sip of wind, inviting them nearer. "The tree of dreams," Matthew breathed, his eyes glistening with recognition. "My grandmother spoke of it only in whispers. She said those who seek it would find answers to their deepest desires." An awed silence fell over the gathering, mingling with the enchanting melody that seemed to emanate from the very heart of the tree. Each villager stepped forward, guided by hope. "It's a sign," John exclaimed, raising his hands as if to touch the shimmering leaves. "We're meant to share our dreams here, to let their energy rise into the sky." As they poured out their hopes and fears at the foot of the tree, the leaves began to tremble, shimmering with a life of their own. The melody swelled, wrapping around every wish cast into the night air. But just as the moment reached its peak, a sudden gust swept through the clearing, and the harmonious notes shifted ominously. A gentle yet hovering doubt whispered through the leaves. Was this truly the path they were meant to take? What trials awaited them, layered beneath their wildest dreams? As the villagers stood entranced, the melody transformed into a rhythm that seemed to pulse with caution, urging them to remain vigilant. An invitation to persevere through darkness echoed softly in their ears. What powerful secrets lay entwined in the heart of the Tree of Dreams? Would they gather the courage to confront both their desires and the shadows that threatened to dim their newfound light? Uncertainty loomed, but a profound energy thrummed just beneath the surface. What awaited them on the other side of this ethereal invitation? As the gust receded, the villagers stood still, their breaths synchronizing with the rhythm that now filled the air, a blend of hope and trepidation. Sarah looked around, her heart racing with an unexplainable mix of excitement and fear. "What does this mean?" she murmured, her voice a fragile whisper against the backdrop of fluttering leaves. "Is it a warning or a call to deeper faith?" Thomas stepped closer, feeling the thrum beneath his feet resonate. "Maybe it's both," he replied softly. "Perhaps the journey is not just about our dreams, but also about facing what we fear. The melody calls us forward, but we must tread carefully." John squared his shoulders, eyes shimmering with determination. "Whatever lies ahead is part of the path. We can't let doubt overshadow the promise of hope. This is sacred ground we have to trust." Matthew nodded, glancing at the Tree of Dreams. "Together we can face whatever challenges arise. We must remember, our strength is in unity. Let us not waver." As they spoke, the branches of the tree swayed gently, inviting an unseen conversation. Felt alive. Each villager could sense the energy, ebbing and flowing, pulling them closer towards its vibrant core. A sudden flash in the air startled them. Gold light ignited around the tree, illuminating each face with a touch of divine radiance. The villagers gasped, simultaneously drawn to and entranced by the vision unfolding before them. The shimmering leaves began to unfurl slowly, revealing delicate symbols that appeared and vanished almost instantly, as if the tree were sharing a sacred language, a tale of old danger and enduring promise. "Look," Sarah pointed, her awe igniting the curiosity of others. "What if these are the stories of those who came before us? Those who faced their shadows and emerged transformed?" The deep chords of the melody shifted again, lifting spirits, urging them to recall their own stories, the challenges they had faced, the miracles they had seen. It was as though the tree was calling for each villager to contribute to its ancient narrative. "Let us bear witness," Matthew encouraged, his voice echoing with conviction. "Share your heart. Lay bare your struggles and dreams before the tree." One by one, the villagers stepped towards the tree, their voices intertwining with the ongoing melody. They spoke of loss, redemption, and the longing for deeper connection. With every word shared, the tree swayed in response, leaves glowing brighter, welcoming their vulnerability. Then, amid heartfelt confessions, the air shifted once more, thick with divine presence. The tree began to vibrate as if acknowledging their earnestness, and an overwhelming sense of peace descended. Within it lay clarity, a whisper of direction in the chaos of uncertainty. "Is that?" John began, overwhelmed by comprehension. "Is it saying that our darkness, our doubts, are not the end but a part of the journey?" "Yes," Sarah exclaimed, her voice trembling with freshly kindled hope. "We are not alone in our struggles. Together we can illuminate even the darkest paths." As their newfound understanding entwined with the lilting melody, a single leaf detached gracefully from the tree, floating down into Thomas's outstretched hands. It shimmered with an otherworldly glow, pulsating gently like a heartbeat. With a sense of reverence, he examined the leaf. Questions danced in his mind. What does this mean? Is it an offering, a sign of something greater? As the villagers gathered, drawn to the leaf, an undercurrent of anticipation buzzed through the air. What revelation awaited them? Would they find the courage to confront their shadows and rise with renewed purpose? The moment hung heavy with unanswered questions, gilded by the sacred energy surrounding them. How would they harness this divine invitation that shimmered with potential? And as they stood together, the golden glow of the leaf illuminating their faces, they felt the stirring within an undeniable call to embark on a journey beyond their greatest imaginings. The villagers stood there, transfixed by the leaf in Thomas's hands. Its glow flickered like a gentle flame, casting a warmth that seemed to melt their fears and uncertainties away. How could something so small carry such weight? Perhaps it was not merely a leaf but a piece of divine promise, an emblem of the journey that lay ahead. What do we do now? Matthew's voice quivered, his eyes wide with wonder. Do we take it back to the village? Or no? Sarah interjected, a light of understanding dawning upon her. We must not rush. The tree has gifted us with this moment. Let us take a moment to sit in the presence of what it has shown us. We must listen. With that, the villagers settled into a circle around the Tree of Dreams. A sacred hush fell upon them, the melody still whispering softly through the swaying branches. The golden glow seemed to pulse in time with their heartbeats, creating a bridge between the seen and the unseen. Thomas closed his eyes, holding the leaf tightly. He felt a rush of warmth course through him. What are you telling us? He whispered into the silence. To his surprise, the air thickened with new energy. Images unfolded within his mind moments of struggle interwoven with threads of hope. Faces of villagers past and present flashed before him, each one marked by their own challenges and triumphs. Each life told a story, a part of a larger tapestry woven by the hands of the divine. Look, Sarah urged, pointing at the tree. The symbols from earlier had begun to glow steadily now, revealing something more profound. It was as if they formed a constellation, mapping a journey that transcended time and space. Could these be paths we've yet to walk? John exclaimed in awe. Could they show us what lies ahead? Matthew nodded thoughtfully. It feels like we are being invited to see not only our past struggles but also the possibilities that await us. His voice held a clarity, as though he were speaking from a deeper understanding. As their gazes returned to the glowing leaf, a realization spread among them. Perhaps, Thomas suggested, this leaf is not just a promise for us as individuals but a beacon for the entire village. We have endured and we have grown. Now we must unite our stories. Encouraged by the idea, each villager began to share their hopes, the dreams they hadn't dared to voice before. One by one, they spoke of healing, family, or aspirations long buried under the weight of daily existence. Each story was met with nods of encouragement, and the air shimmered with a collective energy, resonating with goddess presence. A sudden gust rustled the leaves overhead, and the melody grew more vibrant. It beckoned them, reminding them that they were standing on holy ground where promises were made and destinies intertwined. Then, without warning, the leaf quivered in Thomas's hand and began to transform right before their eyes. It elongated and spun, radiant beams shooting forth, creating radiant patterns that danced in the air. Gasps erupted from the villagers as they felt compelled to reach out, to touch the light. What is happening? Matthew gasped, eyes wide with wonder. Is it a call? John whispered. Is it asking us to step into something new? With hearts racing, the villagers felt a surge of divine energy wrapping around them. They looked at one another, their faces radiant with anticipation and trepidation. Just then, as if on cue, a distant thunder rumbled, echoing through the valley. It seemed to carry both warning and invitation, a reminder that they were on the cusp of something transformative. Will we respond? Thomas asked, his voice barely rising above the crackling energy. The villagers exchanged glances filled with resolve. As the warmth of the light enveloped them, a new question echoed softly in the depths of their hearts. What would they dare to embrace, knowing their lives could change forever? The moment lingered, suspended between fear and hope, prior actions and future revelations. How adaptable would they be to this divine metamorphosis sweeping them toward an unknown horizon? As the light pulsed in Thomas's hand, swirling with divine energy, the villagers felt their hearts synchronize with its rhythm. Their breaths turned into a symphony of anticipation. This was not just any moment. It was a divine invitation to step into the unfolding miracle. "Are we ready?" Sarah breathed, glancing around. Every face reflected a mix of trepidation and hope. They had witnessed the extraordinary before, but stepping into the unknown was a whole new call to faith. Even Thomas, once cloaked in doubt, found his heart warming at the prospect. The struggle within him seemed to dissolve in the face of this collective purpose. "Together, we must embrace this," Matthew urged, excitement lighting up his small frame. "Let us not forget we are stronger when we stand united." With hands clasped, the villagers drew together. Its comforting warmth enveloped them, reminding each person that they were never alone in this journey, no matter the challenges ahead. As if on cue, the breeze picked up, carrying with it the sweet aroma of blooming flowers, a reminder of life that flourishes amidst uncertainty. A voice rang out, echoing through the clearing. "Let us step into the light." It was John, resolute and unwavering. "We have dreams waiting to take flight." At his words, the shimmering leaf exuded an even brighter glow. It beckoned the villagers closer, as if to say, "Your hope is your strength." One by one, they approached, feeling the warmth of the light radiate through them. Each person shared their yearning with conviction, casting their dreams like seeds into the fertile ground of divine energy. "I dream of healing my family," cried one voice. "I wish to bring joy to the lonely," said another. With every declaration, the air thickened with a promise. The tree resonated with their affirmations, sending ripples of energy through the ground beneath their feet, invigorating their spirits. The light from the leaf swirled upwards, intertwining with the branches of the tree of dreams, illuminating the night sky. "Look, it's a sign," Matthew gasped, pointing. The heavens crackled with energy, mirroring the fervent hearts of the villagers below. Then something miraculous happened. A dazzling shower of lights cascaded from the heavens, like stars birthed from the night. Each radiant beam seemed to carry a piece of their dreams, dancing through the air in joyous celebration. Laughter erupted, infectious and pure, a sound that punctuated the silence of their doubts. But just as soon as the joy washed over them, the ominous rumble returned from the horizon. It echoed like the heartbeat of the earth, a reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. A chill swept through the crowd, evoking a moment of doubt. "What if a storm comes?" Thomas murmured, uncertainty creeping back into his thoughts. "Will we falter when faced with hard times?" Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady and warm. "Maybe, just maybe," she said, "the storms teach us about resilience. They remind us what we are capable of when we hold on to love and unity." "Exactly," Matthew echoed, his small face alight with clarity. "Faith doesn't mean we one face storms. It's about standing together when they do." In that moment, the seeds of their faith took root deeper within. Each villager understood anew that every trial held the spark of divine revelation. They formed an unbreakable chain of light, arms intertwined, illuminating the darkness with the brilliance of love and shared purpose. As they stood, united beneath the shimmering skies, the melody of their collective hopes interweaved into an unstoppable crescendo. They were embarking on a journey, a sacred adventure founded in faith, where the challenge of the storm beckoned them to rise proudly into the future. "Then, let us journey onward," Thomas declared, his voice carrying strength. "Together, we will face whatever lies ahead, knowing we walk in the light of our unity." With renewed fervor, the villagers turned their gaze toward the horizon, ready to meet whatever awaited them. They moved forward, hearts ablaze with courage and unwavering faith, accepting the divine energy that pushed them toward revelation. And as they stepped into the unknown, a profound sense of peace enveloped them. The tree of dreams stood tall behind them, a witness to their unveiling, a sacred reminder that they were not just dreaming of miracles, but living them. As the whispers of the night wrapped around them, a question passed through the air. What wonders would be revealed in their journey? The night stretched on, full of hope and promise, as the villagers ventured into their divine destinies, never more fully alive than in the embrace of their newfound faith. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to help us feed the algorithm and spread this message further. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about this Ending Your Voice Matters. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Let's ignite the world with faith.